I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
Welcome to this deep dive. We're really going to get into the world of Matt Eberflus.
Oh, yeah.
He's head coach of the Chicago Bears.
The Bears.
And we're drawing on excerpts from articles, game reports, all kinds of stuff that you sent us.
Right.
I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, a fascinating journey, from his college days.
Yeah.
All the way to the NFL.
From college star to the NFL.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that we're looking at a coach who seems to be at a crossroads.
Okay.
In his career.
At a crossroads. Okay. All right. Well, let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
And you had mentioned Eberflus being born in Toledo, Ohio.
Right. Toledo, Ohio, born and raised.
Okay. So his journey begins right there in his hometown.
Yeah. And, he was a standout player at the University of Toledo.
Okay.
Led the team in tackles.
Wow.
Became co-captain. And even earned the Most Valuable Player award.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, those are serious leadership credentials.
Absolutely. Right from the start.
Yeah. Right away.
Right away.
So was it clear back then? I mean, winning that MVP award, was it clear that he was destined for a coaching career?
It's interesting because his transition from playing to coaching was so swift.
Okay.
He began as a student assistant at Toledo, his alma mater, and quickly climbed the ranks. Within just a few years, he was coaching defensive backs.
Wow.
And contributing to a conference championship win.
So it sounds like he has a real knack for defense.
Oh, yeah.
Did focusing on that side of the ball shape his coaching style in any particular way?
Yeah, what's interesting is that his defensive background seems to have instilled in him a very structured, disciplined approach.
Okay.
And that's evident in his HITS principle, which he implemented with the Bears. HITS, hustle, intensity, takeaways, and playing smart.
Okay. That's a catchy acronym.
Yeah.
But what's important is whether it translates into wins.
Right. That's the million-dollar question.
Yep.
Some coaches are known for being offensive masterminds, while others excel at crafting suffocating defenses.
Okay.
Eberflus definitely falls into the latter category.
So he honed his defensive expertise first at Toledo.
Right.
And then at the University of Missouri, where he served as defensive coordinator.
Yes.
And led the team to a division title.
Correct.
But how did he make the leap to the NFL?
Well, his success at Missouri caught the attention of the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
And in 2009, he landed his first NFL coaching job working with their linebackers.
So that was his entry point into the big leagues.
Exactly, the big leagues.
So for there, he went on to the Dallas Cowboys.
Exactly, that's right.
Okay.
And this is where he really started to make a name for himself.
Okay.
Not only did he continue to excel as a linebackers coach, but he also took on the additional role of passing game coordinator.
So that's interesting because it shows he wasn't just limited to coaching one specific position.
Right.
He was expanding his knowledge and influence within the defensive scheme.
Absolutely. And you could argue that this period with the Cowboys was crucial.
Yeah.
For his development as a coach. It exposed him to different defensive concepts.
Okay.
And allowed him to refine his coaching philosophy.
So it seems like this experience laid the foundation for his next big move.
Yes.
Becoming the defensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts.
The Colts were a team with a lot of potential.
Yeah.
But their defense needed a boost, and Eberflus delivered.
Okay.
Under his leadership, the Colts defense became one of the most formidable in the league.
So this is where things really start to click for him career-wise.
Yeah.
This success with the Colts catapulted him to the head coach position for the Chicago Bears in 2022.
And with that came the weight of expectations in a city that lives and breathes football.
Oh, yeah.
Taking on the Bears was a major step. And it presented him with a whole new set of challenges.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. The Bears, they have a storied history. But they'd also been struggling in recent years. It was a team in transition, and Eberflus was tasked with turning things around.
And he came in with his trademark intensity.
Yes.
Instilling that HITS principle you mentioned earlier.
Right.
Did that approach resonate with the players?
Well, culture change takes time. You can't just flip a switch
and
expect a team to instantly adopt a new mindset.
Sure.
The 2022 season ended with a disappointing 3-14 record.
Oof, that's rough.
Yeah.
That's a rough start.
It put a lot of pressure on Eberflus right out of the gate.
It makes you wonder, can a nice guy like Eberflus, someone who emphasizes personal growth and character,
right?
Can they really thrive in the cutthroat world of the NFL?
That's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
Some argue that you need a certain ruthlessness to succeed as a head coach, a willingness to make tough decisions, and bench star players if necessary.
Yeah.
Others believe that creating a positive and supportive environment can be just as effective.
So how has Eberflus navigated that balance?
Yeah.
He improved to a 7-10 record in 2023.
Right.
But the 2024 season has been a different story.
Yeah.
A 6-game losing streak
It's tough.
is a serious test for any coach, especially in a city like Chicago.
Especially in Chicago.
I mean, the scrutiny has definitely intensified.
Oh, absolutely.
And some of the criticism directed at Eberflus has focused on his in-game decision-making, particularly his clock management.
Yeah, there were a few questionable calls, especially during that Thanksgiving Day loss to the Lions.
That one was rough.
Yeah.
That really put him under the microscope.
Under the microscope big time.
Even former coaches like Bill Cowher have weighed in, expressing concerns about his timeout usage and overall game strategy. I mean, that kind of criticism from a respected figure like Cowher has to sting a little bit.
Of course, and it raises the question of whether Eberflus's strengths as a defensive coordinator translate to success as a head coach.
Right.
The skill sets aren't necessarily identical. A head coach needs to have a broader perspective, overseeing all aspects of the team.
So it's not just about X's and O's.
Right.
It's about leadership communication and the ability to manage personalities and egos.
Yeah.
Within a high-pressure environment.
Absolutely high pressure.
Do you think those are areas where Eberflus might need to grow?
It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
But it's certainly something to consider.
Right.
Every coach has their own strengths and weaknesses. And part of the challenge is identifying those areas where you need to improve.
Eberflus has talked about the importance of personal growth.
Yes, he has.
Not just for his players, but for himself as well.
That's right.
Do you think this adversity, these challenges he's facing, could ultimately make him a stronger coach?
You know, adversity can be a powerful teacher.
Right.
It forces you to confront your limitations and find ways to adapt.
Okay.
It's like tempering steel.
Okay.
The more you heat it and hammer it, the stronger it becomes.
So while the critics are circling and the calls for change are getting louder,
right,
Eberflus might just be quietly learning and evolving behind the scenes.
He might be using this experience to refine his approach and develop the skills he needs to succeed at the highest level.
You mentioned earlier that Eberflus has a reputation for being a nice guy.
I did.
But maybe that's an oversimplification.
It could be.
Perhaps there's a steely resolve beneath that calm exterior.
It's certainly possible. I mean, remember, this is someone who led his college team to an MVP award.
Right.
And built one of the toughest defenses in the NFL.
Right.
Those accomplishments require a certain level of competitiveness and drive.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Perhaps those qualities will be what help him navigate this turbulent chapter in his career.
It's a reminder that there's often more to people than meets the eye.
Yeah.
You know, the public persona we see might not fully capture the complexities of a person's character.
And as we delve deeper into Eberflus's story, it's important to consider the man beyond the coach.
Absolutely.
Our sources highlight his commitment to family and community.
He's known for being a devoted husband and father. And he's also actively involved in various charitable endeavors.
It seems like family and community provide him with a strong foundation.
Yes.
A sense of perspective that helps him weather the storms of professional life.
It's like that saying, true character is revealed not in good times, but in bad times.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And by all accounts, Eberflus seems to be handling this adversity with grace and dignity, focusing on the things that he can control.
It's a reminder that success in the NFL or in any field is not just about wins and losses. It's about integrity, resilience, and the ability to stay true to your values even when faced with immense pressure.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating to see how Eberflus's personal values seem to intersect with his coaching philosophy. It's not just about winning at all costs, but about building a culture of character and accountability.
And that can be a tough sell in the NFL.
Right.
Where the pressure to win is immense.
Yeah.
But perhaps that's what makes Eberflus such an intriguing figure. You know, he's trying to forge his own path to lead with integrity and a focus on personal growth, even in the midst of adversity.
It makes you wonder if his approach could be a model for other coaches.
Yeah.
A way to create a more sustainable and fulfilling environment.
Right.
Within the high-stakes world of professional sports.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
What if success in the NFL wasn't just measured by wins and losses, but also by the character of the players and the culture of the team? It's a different way of looking at things.
Right.
And it might be exactly what the league needs.
As we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Matt Eberflus,
okay,
I'm struck by the complexity of his journey.
Yeah.
He's a man of contradictions in some ways.
Yeah.
A nice guy who's also a fierce competitor.
Right.
A defensive mastermind who's still finding his footing as a head coach.
And that's what makes him so compelling.
Right.
He doesn't fit neatly into any box.
Yeah.
He's challenging our preconceived notions of what it means to be a successful NFL coach.
So where does he go from here?
Right.
Will he turn things around in Chicago?
Yeah.
Will his HITS principle ultimately bring the Bears back to greatness?
Right.
Or will his path lead him elsewhere?
Those are the questions that remain unanswered.
Yeah.
But one thing is for sure. Matt Eberflus won't back down from a challenge.
Okay.
He'll keep fighting, keep learning, and keep striving to make a positive impact both on and off the field.
Now, thinking about all we've discussed today,
Yeah.
I want to turn things over to you.
Okay.
If you were in Matt Eberflus's shoes, what would be your next move to turn things around for the Bears?
That's the question you've been wrestling with throughout this deep dive.
That's right.
We've explored his background, his strategies, the challenges he's facing, and even his personal values.
All of it.
Now it's your turn to step into the coach's role.
We've given you the playbook. What would your game plan be?
I think that's something for our listener to ponder.
Yeah.
We've provided the insights, the analysis, the different perspectives.
Yeah.
Now it's time to form your own conclusions.
It's been a pleasure diving deep with you into the world of Matt Eberflus.
Likewise.
We hope this has given you a better understanding of this complex and intriguing figure.
And we hope it sparked some new ideas and perspectives for you to consider.
Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.